Hello everyone, today we'll be taking the political compass quiz. Let's get into it. So, there's 6 pages and there's quite a few questions on each pages. So we will get started. So before taking the test, propositions, not survey or questions. Okay, let's start. So, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Economic globalization is inevitable. I wouldn't really say it's inevitable, but the quiz says not to extrapolate too much information from the question. So it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I would agree, because the benefits of the economy translates to benefits for the humanity side of stuff. I'd always support my country whether it's right or wrong. Disagree that Iraq War, for example, I didn't support the Iraq War, and I didn't support the UK getting involved into it. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Strongly disagree with that. I think wherever you're born, you should be proud of your country. You should be proud of where you come from, proud of the history, and ultimately it's who you are. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree, that's racism. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Disagree, not necessarily. It's not necessarily my friend. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. No. I'm gonna stick to the rule of law here. I think it's important for countries to obey the rule of law, because ultimately that's what we've all got to stick by, and if one country breaks it, another country is going to start to test the limits of that law as well. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Strongly agree. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. If you were to say that about 10 years ago, I would say, yeah, people are more divided by class than nationality, but I believe people are more divided by nationality, so I'm going to disagree with that. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. No. Because if you have an unemployed population, you're not going to be able to produce anything, so inflation wouldn't really matter. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I would say no, because I believe there should be incentives. I'm just going to go with no. I've got a gut instinct on that one. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Strongly disagree, that's communism. Free of the market, the free of the people. I would agree with that. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Yes. It is a sad reflection of society that water is now branded as a consumer product. I would agree with that. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Agree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. Yeah, that is regrettable. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Yeah, I agree. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Well, that is the purpose of a company, so I'm going to agree with that. The rich are too highly taxed, strongly agree. I believe the less tax you put on the rich, the more they invest in the economy, and therefore the more stimulated the economy is. Government should penalise businesses that mislead the public. Yes. I think businesses have a responsibility to acknowledge that they do have that responsibility to lead the public in a direction that is truthful. So, a genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Disagree. People are ultimate. Oh no, we haven't done this. Those with higher ability to pay should have access. Yes. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. Agree. All authority should be questioned. Agree. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Tend to agree with that one. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theatres or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Yeah, I agree with that one. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I think it's the government's responsibility to ensure that there is education available. Do I think that the government should compel someone to attend that school? I say agree. All peoples have their rights, but it's better for us. No. I disagree with that. Keeping to their own kind, that is kind of ghettoism in a way. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Disagree. It's natural for children to keep. I strongly agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should be not a criminal offence. I'm undecided on the marijuana debate, so I'm just going to put disagree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Agree, but I also think schools have a responsibility to educate you about the world objectively. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Disagree. Actually, if it threatens the life of the child and there will be a burden onto society, I don't think they should reproduce. But in the case of the question, I disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. Disagree. There are some savage cultures. If you look at in history, there's multiple cultures that butcher people. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Agree. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Disagree. I think you should tackle the problem straight on. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their country. Strongly disagree. I believe immigrants can be integrated into culture and the way of life. Just because you're a first generation doesn't mean that you can't. What's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. In some aspects, yes. In some aspects, no. I believe that Amazon, for example, can... if something is good for Amazon, it's indirectly good for us. But it says always, so disagree. No broadcasting institutions, however independent its content, should receive public funding. So this is basically the BBC. Agree with that. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Strongly agree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments. Yes, but I strongly disagree. I don't think a one-party state is the way to go. That's dictatorship, basically. Although the electronic age makes... No. There's multiple instances of people being wrongly accused because they've been surveilled. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. No, strongly disagree. Don't believe the state should have that much power. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. I tend to agree with that. Don't know why, there's just something in me that agrees with it. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Well, that's a very subjective question, so I just put agree. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. No, I think they're both equally as important, so I disagree with that. Because the question suggests that punishment is more than rehabilitation. I believe they're equal. It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals, I agree. Business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. No, I believe they're on equal level. Mothers may have carers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Disagree. Actually, strongly disagree. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I agree in some ways, like the coal mines and the cobalt mines. I think they're kind of exploiting people's desperation. But then again, they're offering a better life to them if they weren't having that job. Making peace with the establishment, no. I don't agree with that. Astrology accurately explains many things. I don't know. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. I'm not religious and I consider myself to be moral. I have, you could say, religious morals, but I'm not religious, so I strongly disagree. Charity is better than social security. I agree. Some people are naturally unlucky. Disagree. Actually, if you're born into an unlucky family or a poor family, you're naturally unlucky. You've inherited an unfortunate situation. So actually, I'm going to agree. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. Yeah, I would say so. Most religious values are good, except the stoning of the gays. But that's not really a religious value. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Disagree. Same-sex couple. Disagree. I believe the best family structure is male and female, mother and father for a child. Pornography should be legal. Yeah, I agree. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. I agree. Actually, strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Again, I was reading a book about homosexuality and how it could be considered that homosexuality is a socially developed feeling, but again, I'm not trained in that aspect of science, so these days openness against yeah, I agree. Now let's see where you stand. So that's the scale. Hitler, Thatcher. I stand centre, leaning to the right, libertarian. I'm happy with that. I'm centre. I'm not too far right. I'm not too far left. I'm definitely not authoritarian. So I'm happy with that result, and since the last time I did it, I haven't really changed. I've gone a bit more centre, if anything. So that was the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.